You're on, Mr. Sachs.
All right, thank you. All right, this is the June 1st Pro Board meeting. I'll start with any public comment. Doubt we have any, but is there anyone who would like to make any public comment? All right, moving on. So can we approve the minutes with only 3 members of the board? Do we need a majority, or does anyone know?
Greg, I should know this. How many members do we have?
We have 7 members and there's only 3 of us here.
So you need at least 4.
Okay.
So you can either table it to the next meeting or wait till after Mr. Overton gets on.
Okay. Well, I'll wait and hopefully we get at least one more person. But the next next item was to introduce our new Pro Board member, and we don't have our new Pro Board member on the call, so that obviously will have to be tabled for now. So I'll move to the next one. So the tree planting at Franklin Preserve. I just wanted to go over. We had a impromptu tree planting because it was a donation from a different planting. There was an excess of about 250 trees that needed to be planted. So we decided to go ahead and use those to fill in the many spots that are still in need of trees at the previous tree planting down in Franklin Preserve. It went very well, I think. We had about 20 plus or minus volunteers that came out. Again, it was last minute, so I think that was a great turnout. It went pretty smoothly. We kind of broke it up into team leaders who worked with some of the volunteers to help hopefully plant them correctly and get all the stakes and the tubes, everything installed. And it was, I think, 93 degrees that day, so it was extremely hot, but we got through it. We got, I think Paul said the exact number was 247 trees that we got in the ground. It didn't complete that whole planting, but it's very close to being filled in. There are some trees that aren't surviving. There's a couple of tubes. I got back out there this past weekend and installed all the bird nets. We didn't have the majority of them at the time, so I put all those in, and I also kind of adjusted some tubes and stakes and whatnot when I could. There are tubes there from previous plantings where some of the trees haven't survived, so there was a handful that I just pulled the tube because all that was growing inside of it was grass or an invasive or something. So but overall I think the planting went well. Our emphasis was to make sure to plant the trees high in the ground, because that's a huge issue that has caused the failure of a lot of trees in this planting prior. And I think overall the majority were planted hopefully correctly. So we'll see. I mean, in time we'll figure out how many survived, but Paul did a good thing that he marked them all. So now we can really see which trees are the newly installed ones, and we can keep an eye on which, what our survival rate is, that type of thing. And just kind of learn as we go. I was gonna, ask Paul. I know Kyle was there, and Kyle was there, and her husband, and Mary's husband was there. So thank you, everyone, you guys, and everyone else who came out. Like I said before, we can't do it without all the support and volunteers. Did you guys have anything else that you noticed or wanted to add? Okay. I'm assuming that's a no. So yeah, I think it went well. It was a good kind of warm up round for our fall planting, which will be, a higher number, bigger scale of planting. But yeah, I think it went great. There is still that stone mulch that's down there that needs to get spread out. Paul talked with Matt, and I think the strategy there is to get some sort of equipment that can kind of scoop it up, and then we can kind of walk with the equipment and shovel, a handful. I think they recommend 3 scoops of stone per tree, which is like a rock mulch to prevent voles. That's the main reason for that. Versus, doing wheelbarrows and going back and forth. So we're going to try to coordinate that hopefully sooner than later before the grass starts growing all back in, and, we have to deal with more ticks and all that. So yeah, that's it. Moving on to the fall planting. I kind of get mixed up sometimes with who I've updated and who I haven't. So I'll just make sure that everyone knows that, we got the funding approved through the Doc Stater Grant Foundation, and they're going to have an award ceremony for the grant. I'm going to try to attend, and I would love if anyone else is available from the board of supervisors or the pro board or Jeff or anyone. It's going to take place on Thursday, June 16th at 3:00, and that's at Cheslin Preserve, which is in Coatesville, I believe. It's not too far away. I think half hour or less. And they said drinks and some food will be provided, and we'll just go there and happily accept our grant.
And Greg, I'm happy to go with you if you want. I can drive, or you can come with me. I'd be happy to do that.
That would be awesome. Thank you, Jeff. Yeah, so I mean, it's also, there'll be all the grant recipients there, so we might be able to talk with other people. But either way, it's a good thing for us to show.
Greg, do we have a date?
Yes.
Do we have a date for the planning?
No, and that's exactly what I was about to say. So yeah, we need to figure out a date for that. Obviously we're shooting for fall,
right,
but we haven't selected a date. I'm pretty open, so it doesn't matter too much to me when we do it. I picked the weekend of October 1st and 2nd, just as an idea. I'm open to anybody's idea. If there's different dates that would work better, or if there's conflicting schedule with anything else. But what do you think? I mean,
I just want to get it on my calendar because that's why I couldn't help the last time. It just came. I had something else.
Yeah. And I do want to get it out there, so people can do that and save the date. So, I mean, Mary or Kyle, you guys were helpful and your husbands were very helpful. Do you think you'll be able to attend, or anyone from your group will be able to attend? And if so, would that date work for you guys?
I'm sorry, what date was it?
So I'm looking at Saturday, October 1st and Sunday, October 2nd. We're going to do it over 2 days because it's in we're in 3 spots. But yeah, I mean, it's more trees, so it'll be a 2-day event. Like Paul just signed on.
I'll check my calendar. Sunday would work better than Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah, that's far enough out that it should be fine.
Okay. Yeah, and that's, like I said, I'd like to get it out there, the date, just so people can reserve that, because we are going to need a good amount of volunteers. Paul, we were just discussing the fall planting schedule and trying to kind of nail down a date for it. I put out there, I put out there Saturday, October 1st and Sunday, October 2nd. What do you think about that?
Okay.
That work for you?
I don't plan that far ahead.
Yeah, same. All right. So if it's okay with you guys, I'll go with that weekend. I think it's a good time. It gives enough time for them to kind of get their roots into the ground and before the first frost comes. So yeah, I'll shoot for October 1st and October 2nd for that. I'm gonna put it in my calendar right now. So the other items as far as that tree planting goes, unfortunately, the nursery is going to bump up their fall prices, which I kind of expected. It seems like I said before, everyone is bumping up their prices. So I've reached out to them to get a most up-to-date quote for the amount of trees that we're looking for in the species. Haven't heard back yet, but that was, a couple days ago. So, I guess we'll kind of get that quote and then go from there as far as how we go about funding it, whether we reach back out to Doc Stater and look for an updated, higher number or what. Hopefully it won't be a massive amount more, but I have no idea what it's going to come in at. So Paul, the first thing I went over was the tree planting. Did you have anything that you wanted to add as far as just a review of how it went and things we learned from it?
Just to thank everybody for showing up that came out. It was a hot day, so more hands the better. It was a short notice, but it worked out. We got, I guess you saw my text, 247 in, and I counted them so that we could go back next year and count again and see how many survived.
Yeah, that's great that you did that. And I guess we can go back to the approval of minutes. We didn't have enough people before you were here, Paul. So now we have four board members. So I'll make a motion to approve the May pro board minutes. Somebody could second that.
I'll second that.
All right. Any discussion or anything? All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, say nay. All right. Minutes approved. All right. Moving on. So Healing Garden. We got all that installed. We are currently in the maintenance stage. We did organize a volunteer day. This was about, I would say, a week and a half ago. It started with a Boy Scout who reached out, who saw the installation going on and was interested in joining us. And it helped to get his merit badge. So it was another kind of impromptu volunteer day, but we were able to get 5 people total. And we got out there. We put a dent in it. It definitely needs more weeding. And I think at this stage, it also needs a thicker layer of mulch. When we originally installed it, the plants were, tiny, extremely small little plugs that were going in. So for us to put, 4 inches of mulch on top of it, a lot of these plants would have been pretty buried, or hard to even see where they were. So my focus now is to continue weeding and then get another thicker layer of mulch. I got a call from Mary McVeigh today, and she was out at the gardens and is interested in helping with the weeding of the garden. She's got a good plant background, so she, would be helpful in setting this up, but also making sure that the right plants are pulled and the right plants are not pulled, which can be very challenging when you're looking in there. Were you saying something?
No, I was just clearing my throat. Unless
Okay.
maybe you hear my son yelling at his video game. Sorry.
All right. So Mary's going to try to set up a day, but she also wants to kind of get something ongoing with volunteers. And it's something, I kind of hoped for to get going where, people are dedicate, an hour a month or something, and people can kind of focus on a certain quadrant, and everyone just kind of does their part and puts in a little effort here and there, but together it makes a success. So she's going to try to schedule a day to get out there with some people, but also kind of get a maintenance schedule going.
Yeah, if she would take it on as like the leader to coordinate it, that would be what we need, right? Somebody to set up a day every month and go out and do it, or
yeah, absolutely. Another thing is the donation that we had. So we had the one-time donation that went towards the install and the plant purchase, but we also at first they gave us the promise of 5 years of maintenance, 500 per year towards the maintenance. So I've spoke with Matt, who was in charge of that donation, and he is going to just send the full amount to the township, which is great. So that way we can tackle it, because if everything goes right, 4 or 5 years down the road, the garden's going to need way less maintenance, weeding, and all that than it is right now. So, if we can put more towards the care and the maintenance to get the plants established and growing in, filling in, now, it'll save all the work down the road. So we should be hopefully getting that money coming in. I also reached out to Redtail to get a quote, just to see how much they would charge us for, a round of weeding, and some mulching as well. I figured with Redtail, they were involved from the start. They did part of the installation, so they're, they'll know the species, they'll know what's good, what's a weed. But I am open to other suggestions as far as any other companies, or if anyone knows anyone who we could get an estimate from. I think it's, regardless, good to have a few estimates.
I don't know how it works, but is there anything that could involve the master gardeners?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if anyone has any contact with them. I've tried to reach out to them in the past and didn't even get an email response or anything. So I've really no connection or experience working with them. That would be awesome if we could, somehow get them involved, or a recommendation, or, I'm open to suggestions for anyone who could help. Does anyone have a connection with them, or Mary, do you actually?
I do not.
Yeah. I mean, we could try to reach out and see, if they have any ideas or thoughts about it. Maybe when I reached out the last time, it was the wrong contact or something.
Greg,
Yes.
there's a gardening page for Landenberg. I don't know if that'll help.
Yeah. I've tapped into that. I've posted our volunteer events there. Yeah, I could ask on there. I'm sure people would have some ideas. It'd be nice just to have somebody who has a little plant experience to get in there and know what species and how to do it correctly. So yeah, I could pose the question on there and see if anyone has any recommendations. But yeah, so that's basically all I had as far as, we did get the 2 trees installed in the middle too, which is great. Yeah,
What are they?
they are hornbeam, which is the original species we were looking for. It's a smaller native tree, it maxes out at 20-30 feet. So it's not going to shade out the whole garden. It's a beneficial native species. Yeah, we were able to pull those 2 of them from the excess tree planting trees that we had. So yeah, that finally kind of completes the planting process of the garden. And we caged them as well, just to help them grow, and hopefully the deer will leave them alone for a little while. So yeah, that's all I have on the gardens. So moving on, memorial benches. So Jennifer, that was her a project that she kind of decided to take the reins on. She's been going through some health stuff and personal stuff. So she, as of right now, doesn't have an update, but she's said she'll be happy to continue working on that. Memorial trees, we've wrapped up that installation for the spring. We did install 1 more memorial tree down by the soccer field. So that it was a white oak that went in. That tree, I would like to get that tree mulched. I just haven't actually myself got out there and pushed a wheelbarrow around. But other than that, that tree's installed. We had the second one that was installed down by the tennis courts. But yeah, we're cutting that off until fall. I think what we learned from this round is that we need to make sure we confirm pricing, because things are going up and they possibly might go up again. Oh, Jeff, I never put a plaque in, and I think the plaque was at the office for that tree, the one by the tennis courts. Do you know if that's at the office?
I don't, sir, to be honest with you.
Okay. All right. I'll reach out to, I think it might have been Sarah.
Yep.
All right. Well,
She would have been the one to have ordered it if you had asked her to.
Right. Yeah, I think she actually ordered it before I even realized that we were going forward.
And
But
Greg,
anyway.
it could have come in, but I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not always here.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I'll reach out to her and we can get that. That's the easy part. All right. So next up was the volunteer garden plaques. So I spoke with the 3 groups of volunteers, 3 groups. Yeah. 3 groups of volunteers that are currently working their garden plots around the park, / the raised planters in the parking lot there. And this idea has kind of been thrown around a little bit, and they were all on board with us if we decided to go forward with providing like a plaque in their gardens that says something along the lines of, this garden adopted by so-and-so. I think it's a good way for us to recognize and thank them for what they're doing. And they were all cool with it. So I haven't done a research as far as plaques. I don't know if anyone wants to volunteer to do that, but I think, go ahead.
I said, I'll do it since I brought it up to you.
Okay. Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, I mean, again, I think just something simple that says, this garden adopted by so-and-so. I mean, I don't know if anyone else has any input on what the plaques should look like, or if they should add more stuff, but I think it's a good idea and a good way to thank them and show, this might draw interest from other people that, hey, maybe I could adopt a garden plot or something,
Absolutely gives them some ownership of it too. Yep.
Exactly. All right, well, maybe Kyle, if you can do a little more research and try to find something that will serve that purpose. All right, well, we're moving quickly through stuff, which is good. So preserve maps. Mary, did you have any changes or updates on any of the mapping or any of the project you're working on there?
I'm working on Banffshire right now because of I was looking at the way Paul was talking about the trails themselves look like disconnected. So I have to work on fixing that. But I think that's the only preserve map that's still up in the air. Like Franklin Preserve got okayed, right?
We did, but Mary, we were looking for one that was a combination of Franklin and Crossan together. And I don't want you to have to recreate it from scratch. Is that something, if the county has both files, they can just put them together and print one or something? I don't know how it works.
Honestly, I completely forgot about that. So I can do it. It's not a problem. It's just a matter of having a plotter to print it on. But I believe Jeff said that we do. So.
Yeah, Jeff has one.
Certainly
Yeah,
do.
so-
We can print any size you want.
Okay, I think I have it I think it's 24 by 12 right now.
Easy.
No, but if we put both of them side by side, it would be better to be like 24 by 24 or whatever the standard is in that range, 20 by
Okay.
24. I don't know, because they're both rectangles. So if you put them
Yeah,
together,
I'm
it'll
sorry.
make a square.
It's 16. It's 16 by 24. Or 7. Yeah, I don't know. I'll look at it.
We can go as wide as 36 inches and then to infinity, the whole length of the roll if you want.
Yeah, I don't know where we would hang that one.
It's a nice plotter.
But I want to put something on the bulletin board at the bathrooms, and I think 24 by 24 roughly, whatever the standard comes out, that would be a good fit on that bulletin board. Yeah, I don't want you to have to recreate it. So if you can just combine the two we have or get the county to combine them, that would be helpful. And I think we agreed on making it a satellite image instead of the
Yes.
Crossan is kind of a cartoon image.
Yeah. No, it's not a big deal. It's no
Okay.
problem. Yeah.
Okay. So next up was movie night. Were there any, Jeff, did you have any updates, any changes, anything going on with that we are unaware of?
Well, I've been trying to find a pole light or two donation. If you remember, we had those last year.
Mm-hmm.
We need a minimum of one. It would be nice to have two, but I did have the Avondale Fire Company come through today with a donation for one that we can use that evening, which is good.
Yeah.
So I can at least focus now on like a water ice truck or something else to help fill out the grant. Now that I feel comfortable that we have at least one light to go by, but the licensing's done, the porta-john's done.
And it's
Screen's
scheduled
done.
it's scheduled for the 16th of July?
Yes, sir. Rain date of the 17th.
Gotcha.
What movie got picked?
Spider-Man: No Way Home.
Cool.
The people spoke. That's what I heard the most for.
How many votes did you get?
Probably a dozen.
Okay.
And most of them, well, the majority of them were for Spider-Man.
All right. Well, I've never seen it, so I'll watch. Cool. All right. So update on the poison hemlock at Franklin Preserve. There was a large meadow of mostly poison hemlock located right off Parsons Road next to the parking lot, the top parking lot at Crossan. Jeff was able to reach out to Kenny, the farmer, and thankfully he was able to get out there very quickly and mow that field down. So thank you, Jeff, and thank you, Kenny, for doing that. I did reach out to Redtail again to get an estimate on just tackling the straggler plants that are kind of all over the place, just little ones here and there, just to kind of completely take down the seed bank for this growing period. They have kind of been slow in getting me an estimate. So I haven't been out there to keep an eye on where the plant is. I know they were flowering or very close to flowering when we mowed. So we're kind of getting to the point where, the stragglers are either gonna, we're kind of where they might be going to seed already. So we got the majority of it, I would say 90%, 95% of it was cut down. And I'm talking about plants like there's one popped up on the side of Parsons Road on the other side of that hedgerow. There's just, random little ones here and there. Whether or not that's going to continue the meadow growing, who knows? But, it's not going to help it to have these extra ones around. We could have tried to get out there and get volunteers, but it's a plant that can have bad effects. So personally, I think it's better to have somebody who's a professional to do it. So that's where we're at with those.
So Greg, how does that work? So we were lucky to get the one mowing, and like you said, you got 90% of it. But
Yeah.
that, next year, you got to keep up with it, right? So next year we're gonna do the same thing, right? Because the seeds, some of the seeds are already in the ground.
Yeah, and even the seeds from last year,
Right.
they can last years in the ground. So, even if we got 100% for the next couple of years, there's still
Right.
a good chance that it's going to keep growing. So it's going to be an ongoing process. Whether or not you completely eliminate it, that's to be seen. But the goal is to get the majority of it, so it's not a whole meadow and a walking path with it on both sides of it.
Right.
We have it at all the preserves, Donna, and most roadsides have it, but it was just
Right.
out of control in this meadow. So we're just trying
Right.
to get it back under control. You can see it in Goodwin along the ditch and Banshire along the road. So it's all over, but it was just crazy. So if we mow every year or twice a year in that area, it should get under control. And if we have to go to spraying, we're trying to avoid that, but that's the extreme.
Right. It's just part of maintenance. I think you just have to do it.
It is,
Yeah.
but we don't have to do it in the whole other big meadow, right? We're lucky it's a small meadow and we just want to
Right.
catch it before it spreads.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah, and surprisingly, it has kind of stayed contained in that meadow and not gone over to the next meadow or over into the Crossan meadows. So yeah, we're just trying to keep it controlled at this point and then slowly chip away at it. I think, Jeff, didn't you mention that Kenny said that he's never seen that much of it in a meadow? Or
Correct. We won the prize.
yeah,
That's not
we
good.
won the prize.
Nice.
So yeah, it's just, it's something we'll have to keep monitoring and keep chipping away at it. But yeah, like Paul said, it's not just this meadow. It's all over the whole area. So yeah, but we're making progress, and as of right now, it's looking pretty good. All right, moving on. So Jeff brought up a topic, which is the Goodwin Preserve tree planting. We're wanting to discuss, and we're going to plan on going out there to take a look at the state of the tree planting, but more so what's growing underneath it, and if it needs a mowing. This is the plan originally, is to basically add a forest to this area, a riparian buffer that closes in, creates a canopy, and shades out most of the plants. This was, I looked it up, it was planted 12 years ago, and we're still kind of dealing with the mowing of it. So there is a point where we got to ask ourselves, are we going to keep mowing this, or are we going to try to actually make this a forest and maybe focus more on getting rid of invasives and vines that'll kill the trees, but not mowing up and down rows in between the trees. I know one of the guys who does the mowing mentioned that he would need to trim back some of the branches, the lower branches, to get his mowers in there. And I mean, personally, I think that's counterproductive of what we're trying to accomplish, because then you're removing more trees that are going to create shade. And, we're not trying to make it a manicured tree farm. We're looking to, reforest this area. But with that said, I'd like to get out there and take a look. Jeff and I were going to discuss on Monday and try to work on a day to get out there, and anyone's, welcome to join. And then, we can take a look, see what I know. I'll tell you right now, I know there's tons of invasives in there, which isn't surprising. That's our area is full of invasives, but it's just a matter of what our game plan is going forward. So Paul, or anyone else, I mean, I know you were involved from the start on this one. Do you have any input on that?
No, it sounds good. Take a look at it. There were several years we didn't mow at all, but we've done better in the last few years. So if there's multiflora rows, I think it should be mowed down, or sprayed in the early spring before the natives come out.
Mm-hmm.
But we've missed that.
Right.
So it'd be interesting from somebody from Stroud Water Research to maybe take a look at it too, to see if it's behaving like they expected or what. But I mean, it's considered a very successful planting. We got an early canopy.
Mm-hmm.
And but I know you said trimming branches, cuts down shade, but sometimes it can force the trees to grow up, which can be good. And most lower branches die eventually anyway, right? If you think about a forest, the lower branches are gone. And so you want the tree to put its energy into up and mature, rather than going the lower branches and then they die.
Yeah. I mean, also in a forest, you have the different layers. You have the smaller trees, the mid layers.
Yeah. So like you said, though, maybe a professional to look at it, but I think you're right. Someday we're not going to mow it. And, I haven't looked at it this year, though.
Yeah. I'd like to get out there and take a look and just kind of see where we're at.
Right. How dangerous are the invasive species? Is that something that you have to actively manage now, or does it get to a point where the canopy will deal with it?
I mean, even in a full grown canopy, you're still going to deal with invasives. It depends on what species you're talking about, really. I mean, I live next to a mature forest, and there's invasives in there. It's always an ongoing process, but it's, our goal is to keep the trees alive. And
Right.
so
Question, will the invasives kill this? So I don't want to get rid of the invasives for the sake of getting rid of them, because I don't want to look at them. I'm more worried about, can they kill the trees and destroy your forest? They can.
yeah, they can. I mean, there's Oriental bittersweet is a vine that strangles the trees. That's a real bad one. Multiflora rose can vine up and pretty much swallow a tree. So yeah, they can definitely kill trees. I've learned you can't expect perfection. It's an ongoing battle, and you just, you win the battles and just keep building.
Balancing act, right? You're trying just to keep it under control. So you're
Right. Yeah. Yeah. We actually, where we live is one of the worst areas in our country for invasive plants. So it's a hard place to be for as far as that goes. But, we just do our best and try to keep the good trees alive, and the good
But
species.
there are some parts of the Strawbridge property that I was walking on not too long ago with Paul Agassi, that the understory is pretty clean. Like that's, just some spice bush and not much multiflora at all. So, there are some areas around where it's
Yeah,
not
definitely.
totally taken over.
Yeah. And I mean, the more, like, the bigger the forest, the more you get on the interior of the forest.
Yes.
You'll notice that, that the invasive haven't reached or can't reach that area because of the amount of light that hits the ground, that kind of thing.
Yep.
But yeah, there's definitely, it's not a completely lost cause. It's a challenge for sure. So yeah, we'll plan on scheduling something with Jeff. We're gonna reconvene on Monday and discuss. So if anyone's interested, just let us know and we can let you know. The other thing I added was the bridge. I was hoping Jim was able to give us an update on that, but he's not here. But I know the bridge over on the Gagan Trail has been completed by the Eagle Scout, and it looked like he had, I don't know, every volunteer possible. He had like 20 something people, it looked like. But they got it done. I mean, I'm no expert on bridge building, but it looked beautiful.
Yeah, it was a wider bridge to accommodate the zero turn mower they used to mow that trail. So it also had to be stronger for the weight, but it was less than 30 inches off the ground, so they didn't need handrails. So that's why it looked different than the other bridges. It was built for a purpose.
Gotcha. Right. Okay. All right. Well, that's all I had as far as topics. Anyone else have any additional topics to discuss? We're making great time.
I have one, is that when we were parking people on the pipeline driveway there for tree planting, I noticed that the power supply wires that went to that old house we tore down when we got the preserve, they're falling down to the ground. They're like, I was worried a car would catch it. So I guess like Jeff took care of the wires that went into the mushroom house over by the crossing entrance, maybe he could have those same people take a look at taking down these wires.
I'll put that on my list, sir.
It appears to be disconnected, Jeff, from the pole across the street, but it still goes to the pole, but it seems to be disconnected. So I think, and it's all copper. Someone's going to get rich off of that. It's a long run, maybe 500 feet,
Okay.
600 feet. 2 wires, but then underneath that, the 2 electrical wires is some sort of communications wire. I don't know if it's telephone or Fios or whatever. And I just want you to be careful that it doesn't go back to the pipeline, right? Like it's there.
Oh, no,
camera-
I completely understand that one.
Yeah, and then there's a third set of wires laying on the ground in the ditch. And I don't know if you noticed that, but they're not too old. They're pretty recent. So I don't know if and that goes way back. So I don't know if the pipeline people put that in. It just seems like a temporary thing. So it might be worth a call to the pipeline people to come out and take a look and make sure they don't want any of those wires before you tear them out.
Yes, sir.
But it's definitely somebody needs like a real electrician with a bucket truck, because you're messing around with the live wires at the street. We don't want anybody.
Well, what I'm going to do once I get the clearing from the pipeline company, I'll try and pull a favor with Pico and have them put up a bucket truck and give me the all clear, hopefully.
Okay. Yeah, you did good, whatever you did on the last set. And then the other one is I was in Oxford tonight and saw that riparian buffer sign. Did you guys get my text? I don't know if it went through.
Yeah, I saw that. It was a nice
Yeah.
sign.
It was pretty cool, right? I guess apparently they're in the Chesapeake Bay watershed, but it would be a good idea to put one of them up, especially at your planning and crossing park where people will walk right by it and say, what is all this about? It's good.
Yeah,
Educational.
agree.
stuff.
I agree. And I added that. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I'm with Paul. I love signs because people don't know, so signs are awesome.
Yeah, I agree. And I was going to say, I added that in the proposal for the tree planting. So we do have some funding in there for some signage.
Good. Yeah, it's good.
That's great.
I'll contact them. And they had chesapeakebay.org or something on there. I'll write to them and see if I can find out where they had it made.
Okay. Yeah, and I've been over time, I've been photographing signs that I thought kind of looked cool. So I could I wanted to do more research into that, but I've been kind of trying to put them in a folder and go through all my cool signs that I've found over time. But yeah, that's something we need to look into for sure.
I guess one other topic is when Shane gave us the trees from the White Clay Wild Scenic.org. Their specification was tube stakes, bird netting, and stone mulch around the base. And Jeff moved the pile of stone mulch to the area, but we haven't installed it. We ran out of steam that day. It was just too hot. So I was going to ask Matt if he can bring his tractor down, but that might be another volunteer day. We just need 3 people if we get a tractor to shovel stone around the base of the tube to try to keep the voles out.
Right. Yeah, I'd be happy to help. Just would need to know when you're looking to do it. And
yeah, it's up to Matt if he can provide a tractor. But otherwise,
Right.
I'd have to ask the supervisors for money to rent a Bobcat, a skid steer. Or if Jim has one, we could rent it from him or from, General Rental or whatever.
Mhm.
But if we can get it donated by Matt, that'd be great. So I'll ask him. And
Okay.
I just wanted people to know that it's not finished. Like we still have a task to do down there.
Right.
Try to ensure those trees survive.
Yeah. And we do have, we want to get it done, but I think the voles are more of a winter problem. I know we want to get it done before the grass all grows in and everything, but
Yeah, that I don't like working in the tall
Mhm.
grass, right? It's better
Nah.
now that it's mowed, and we don't want to pay for another mowing, so we want to get that done.
yeah. I've already found, I think 5 or 6 ticks walking up me this spring. So I'm all for getting it done before we have to deal with those tall grass. All right. Any other topics?
I just have a public comment, but wait till everyone else is done.
I think
Go ahead, Joe.
I think you're up.
All right, become a promoter with my position at the township. I just wanted to remind everyone about the Franklin Township Shred Day on Saturday. It'll be in front of the Little Ducklings, and it'll be from 9 till noon. So if you can spread the word, please, anyone who would be interested or has material to shred, please ask them to bring it along. So
Where is it?
in front of the Little Ducklings, right at 10 McMaster Boulevard, right across the street from the Avon Grove Charter School.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
Jeff, is there any, oh, we talked about this earlier, that's right. I was gonna ask, there's a comment on the Auburn Road easement. Everything's through the township now, right? But you guys haven't seen any signed papers or anything?
Correct. We are no longer the holdup, Mr. Overton.
So I'll see if I can get an update from Robin to see what's going on.
Yep.
Okay. Well, if that's it, I'll go to, well, I'll do public comment. Doesn't look like we're gonna get any, but any additional public comment? All
Come on,
right.
Donna. Come on, Dawn. You guys can public comment here.
That was a very efficient meeting. I have no comments. Well done.
This might be a new record for us. 1 hour. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Meeting adjourned. Have a good one.
All right.